in your same computer.
In the cloud, in the same computer, eh?
For example, when you log in, for example, to Facebook, since Google or since Chrome, since any uh, how's it server, you can save your passwords there, and it is something good. Obviously, the recommendation is that your laptop has a password too, because imagine that something happens and they have all your passwords there.
Right.
But if you have a password in your cell phone, I don't know, there are in your cell phone, sorry, in your laptop, there are laptops that uh, they got unlocked when with your finger or with the pin, whatever.
Mhm.
It's a good alternative to don't forget all the passwords, because it is almost impossible to don't forget all of them.
I see. Well, well, I think okay. Good tip. Thank you, Mickey.
No
I'll
problem, teacher.
I'll be more aware of that. I was just thinking the other day about what makes who are good speakers in your experience that you say, oh, this is a good speaker. Obviously, many people point at Barack Obama, but there are many others throughout history who are great speakers. Other people say that Winston Churchill or Martin Luther King,
Hmm.
they are good speakers because they, for different reasons, most of them point to an emotional delivery. I don't
Hmm.
know if I like that very much because I mean, why do we have to be emotional, right? But most of them say that they are emotional. Look at them, Mickey. What do you think of what they say?
Examples of great speakers, past and present. Martin Luther King Jr., master of emotional and persuasive rhetoric. Yeah. Winston Churchill, powerful, structured, and motivational speeches.
Right.
Oprah Winfrey connects deeply through storytelling and authenticity. Barack Obama, smooth delivery, clarity, and engaging presence. Malala Yousafzai, quién sabe.
Yeah.
Passionate, articulate, and inspiring. Malala.
Right. What do you think about these concepts in red that emotional, motivational, connects deeply, engaging, and passionate? I mean,
Hmm.
they all seem to be pointing at being good because you show passion, emotion. I
Hmm.
don't know. I have my I what do you think about this? Maybe right, maybe the right way to convince people
Hmm.
emotional. What do you think?
Well, yeah, I think that it's much easier to convince people when you use emotions, when you try to uh, transmit the emotions that you're feeling or that you pretend to feel. It's much easier. Uh, I think that obviously it works, but in occasions I think that it is a little bit like manipulative. You know?
Manipulative. That's what I was thinking.
Hmm.
Right? If yeah, that's what it looks. You said the right word. Pretends to be, right? You are
Hmm.
emotional or you pretend to be emotional.
Pretend
That
to be.
means a little bit like acting. I don't know if I agree with that totally. That's the way it makes me feel precisely. A little bit
Hmm.
manipulated or manipulative.
Yeah, of course, 100%. Yeah, and there are so many great speakers. A great speaker could be to um Adolf Hitler.
Adolf Hitler was a great speaker. Yeah, he
Yeah,
managed to convince people. He was also very emotional, very motivational, right?
yeah. Uh, what else? Mm,
They say John F. Kennedy.
I was thinking exactly in John F. Kennedy. Yeah, yeah, of course, John F. Kennedy. Hmm.
Right. I just retrieved information about what makes a good speech. Let's see if you agree with this.
Yeah.
Uh, let's go through the what makes a good speech, right? What
Hmm.
makes a good
Speech.
speech? Okay, let's go through the first one, please, Mickey. Can we?
Hmm. Clarity and organization. Speaks in a structured manner. Clear introduction, body, conclusion. Uses simple, concise language to convey ideas. Avoids unnecessary jargon or filler words, like.
Well, about these three words, actually, when you are teaching a new language to another person, one of the things that you give them as an idea is maintain your turn to speak, right? Don't just cut it off and pass the turn to the next person, but continue. If you don't know what to say, you need to say something like, well, okay, etc.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
give you exactly the opposite advice so that
Mm-hmm.
you maintain your turn and you don't finish just the sentence and okay, and now it's your turn to talk, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think that depends because, for example, in the case that you mentioned, when you are teaching someone or when someone is learning a new language, I think that it's normal to feel that probably you don't have all the words or you don't have like the accurate word to express what you want to express, and it is normal to have this, as you mentioned, filler words or jargon, but probably in front of a group of people, you need to show security, and probably this type of words can make you uh, see like if you were like like an insecure person, or that probably you don't manage correctly the topic that you're talking. I think so.
Or undecisive, right?
Yeah.
That's true too. Very true. Actually, I was just thinking about a performance of my brother's son who plays the violin. He's a very good kid and very smart, and he plays the violin really well. He recently played a concert by Tchaikovsky, which is the violin concerto by Tchaikovsky, and
That's great.
he's very good, technically speaking. But when I told my brother, and it's going against what I'm saying in this moment, I know, but I'm gonna say it.
Hmm.
I thought that he was a little bit plain, unexpressive. And my brother says, yeah, but he makes the music sound as he feels it. He's passionate in his thinking. And I said to him, look, but I think musicians need to be a little bit um, like actors, try to express the emotions, even if they don't feel it at the moment, or if they feel it, to express it also with the body, with the gestures. And I think we had this conversation a while ago about Lang Lang, remember?
Yeah. 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 Of course.
And maybe he's the extreme case. But on the other hand, people who are faceless or gestureless and have no gestures at all, look dry, look plain. I was just thinking the same about speakers. Maybe I have these mixed feelings, Mickey. On the one hand, I think that it's good, important to deliver this strong message, put emphasis, courage. We need to plant more trees because otherwise we're going to pollute the world, something like that. But on the other hand, if I say this calmly, with reason, with convincing arguments, I think that can also be valid. What's your feeling about this?
Yeah. Well, it is something that I have think about so many times, and I think that depends of the personality of the person, because I think that in cases when someone is not like very expressive and wants to be or wants to show that he's very expressive, in occasion people can feel like probably he is lying or he is uh, I don't know,
Not
like
being authentic.
not exactly not being authentic, and I think that that could be like the opposite. But for example, in the case that you mentioned, I don't know, in a concert of in this case, for example, I think that it is necessary, probably not like lang lang, not to be so expressive. That I'm not saying that is bad, but I think that in music and in art in general, I think that what you want to show is like transmit those emotions. I think so. Like to feel like to make the people feel what you are playing or what you are expressing, and in those cases, I would say that gestures or movements of the body are important in when you are performing something or when you are playing an instrument, whatever. I think so.
Right. And I believe that is a very important concept, right? The valid and sincere expression of your
Mhm.
emotions.
Yeah.
I think it is just as bad to exaggerate them, to say something that you don't feel, like we need to vote for the best candidate. I just, oh, that sounds as false as whatever.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
maybe the opposite is also not as good. that you have a strong emotion, that you have a big feeling. That can be love, that can be courage, that can be wrath, that can be anger, that can be fear, whatever it is, right? And should we, to what extent should we express or contain our emotions? I guess that is the question, right? To what extent should we conceal? Another way to say it is not to express it, but to hide it, to
Hmm.
conceal,
Hmm.
or express our feelings and emotions. Maybe that's the question I wanted to ask. Maybe to what extent should we conceal? I mean, to repress
Hmm.
or to freely express our feelings, right? Whatever they are.
Hmm.
And that's a question maybe that I wanted to ask. To what extent? How should we establish the boundaries of the
Hmm.
expression or concealment of our feelings?
Hmm.
When we talk, when you play an instrument, when you write, right? When you sing, when you do any activity,
Yeah.
and apply to a speech, that's maybe the. For example, it says number two, Mickey. Can you go through number two, please? Confidence and presence.
Hmm. Confidence and presence. Maintains strong posture and eye contact. Speaks with steady, controlled voice, not too fast or slow. Projects authority without arrogance.
What's your opinion about these three items?
Are very important, and mostly when you are speaking to a public or to a group of people, because I don't know, something that it is a little bit difficult to me. It is something that I have been working and I'm improving on that. But when I was I don't know, showing a topic in front of a group of people or in front of my classmates, not, but with people that normally I don't know. In occasions, it was like difficult to me to maintain the eye contact, and I think that is very important because in a way, I think that you establish like a connection when you are looking to someone, and yeah, I would say that it's so important. And it speaks with a steady, controlled voice, not too fast or slow. I think that in occasions when you feel like nervous or when you feel like um, a pressure, when you feel pressure, tends to speak too fast, and
That's
that's
true.
another mistake.
That's true. Actually, our piano teacher used to tell us that when we started speeding, playing too
Hmm.
fast, because you wanna get over with. You wanna say, "I wanna finish as quickly as possible," because you're tense, you're nervous. He says, "No, no, no. In that moment, force yourself to play more slowly. Actually, slower than what the composition calls for. Maybe the
Hmm.
composition calls for a rhythm of 120 beats per minute. You
Hmm.
go deliberately to 110 or even 100. You
Hmm.
force yourself to go slower." And that has happened to me too. Even as a teacher, even as I feel an experienced teacher, I have had this feeling, Mickey, that you mentioned that you have or you had. And I try to do the same. I say, well, I'm going to breathe deeply. I'm going to think about something that consumes time. Maybe I'm going to make a couple of gestures. Uh, and then I continue with my speech, trying to be a little bit slower than I was because I was speeding. I was
Hmm.
running when I was nervous or
Hmm.
anxious.
Hmm. Yeah.
And,
Uh-huh.
and the last one projects authority without arrogance. How do you attain that? How do you manage to project authority without looking arrogant?
Probably I would say that it's the hardest one because I think that it's like uh, a little line that it is so easy to overpass. Because yeah, from one part you want to show you secure that you have like the authority, but uh, for the other hand, if you overpass that, you can see like someone that is arrogant or someone that just want to show off or you know I don't know. I think that what is important is to always stay with a student mind, because there's always gonna be something that probably you don't know, and it is okay. It doesn't makes you less. And yeah, I would say that try to yeah, try to be transparent with the public or with the group of people that you're talking. That probably if I don't know if you don't know something that someone asked you, say okay, I don't know, but I'm gonna search it for you instead of just speak because you don't want to show to the others that you don't know the answer. I think so.
Right, and there is an anecdote I mention quite often. Is with a lady that wanted to know a specific word. She asked me, "Hey, teacher, what is the meaning of rastas in English? What do you say rastas in English?" I remember the word very clearly. See, rastas in English. I'm sorry, but I don't even know the word in Spanish. So tell me what is rasta. So much less in English, right? Oh,
Hmm.
well, it's the type of hairdo and this and oh, okay, fine. She explained what it was in Spanish. I said, I'm
Hmm.
sorry, I don't know the word in Spanish. Imagine in English,
In English, yeah, of course.
and that can
Yeah.
happen. That can happen. What do you, for example, Mickey? You see the Argentinian people. For some of us, they look arrogant. For some others, they look secure. Um, do you remember having heard a speech from someone, an Argentinian guy, in which you consider they were being uh, confident versus arrogant, or vice versa? Which because I think they are in the threshold, precisely in the threshold of being arrogant or being confident or overly confident. What do you think?
Yeah, I have seen those cases in soccer.
Okay,
in
okay.
Yeah, that the public or the fans that support obviously the Argentinian selection. Um, I don't know. Probably it's the way how they speak too, because probably their accent and the modisms that they use. At least for me, that I'm Mexican, in occasions I can feel like they are arrogant, but well, I don't want to generalize. I think that one time I told you that I have one friend of Argentina that at the beginning I was thinking with this paradigm, like probably this person is gonna be arrogant or that he wants to show off. But at the end was a great person and it's a good friend and yeah, I think that we have this idea of Argentinian people, but probably it's not the accurate. Obviously, there are gonna be people who is very arrogant in Argentina.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. Do you remember a very funny Argentinian group, which I remember to this day, very witty, intelligent humor, called Les Luthiers?
Le Luthiers.
Let me
No, I don't
send you
think.
the link. They're extremely funny and they're just amazing. Les Luthiers. You can Google them, maybe find a short clip of them. They were just the opposite. They were pretending to be arrogant. One of them was pretending to be arrogant when in reality was making fun of these people, of people who tend to be arrogant. Right? Is the Let me see if I find a very short clip from the luthier, and they are extremely funny. Let's see. Let me find a short clip
Thank you.
in which let me see because this is this guy. Okay. Uh, okay, let's see. There are many, but they are a bit long. Let me find one that is really short, or maybe just take a quick look. Take a quick look at the uh, very famous group, Le Luthier. Okay, this is the guy that is really funny. Just take a quick look at the first 30 seconds or first minute. Let me send you
Okay,
the
sure.
link.
Yeah.
Okay, here it is. The link, I just sent you the link. Take a quick look at just the first 30 seconds or first minute and see what
Okay.
you think of this guy. Mainly the guy that is bald, the older one.
Okay, okay. Let me see a teacher. I'm gonna turn off the microphone.
Yeah, of course. Okay.
Yeah, I saw a little part of the video. Yeah, now I understand what
Right.
you mean.
How do you like the way they talk?
Well, they talk with authority, security, obviously in a humoristic way. But the way how they say it doesn't matter that it's something funny. It's very serious and confident. I don't know. To be honest, I didn't know about them. I saw that they are a group of 1967, and I think that they talk about different topics, and they make music too, right?
Yeah, yeah, they're a musical group, but comedians at the same time. They were very, very popular in the 70s, 60s, 70s. They lasted like over a decade. They were really, really fashionable. And to this day, I like to watch their videos when I want to have some fun and laugh a little bit.
Yeah, I'm gonna search more about them. Yeah, because I think that they talk about politics too and all stuff, but in a humoristic way. So it is interesting because it is gonna be like other point of view because at other times, but in occasions, certain things maintain well, still like a steady, don't change too much.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Well, these are a great group. This is a great group, and I like to
But,
watch them from time to time to have fun and relax myself a little bit. But they project this authority without being arrogant because they overmake it, right? They overdo it. I'm
hmm
sorry,
hmm
they overdo it. So they pretend to be arrogant, but in reality, they are making fun of it, making fun of
Yeah,
themselves of the situations,
that's right.
which is what leads you to humor, I guess.
Yeah, interesting. I didn't know about them.
Yeah, Les Luthiers, very, very funny group, man. Well, there is another another topic which is engaging delivery. You engage your audience with an engaging delivery. Let's see what you think of these characteristics, Mickey. Please, can you
hmm
take a look?
Yeah, engaging delivery uses vocal variety, tone, pitch, pace to keep listeners interested. Incorporates storytelling, humor, or rhetorical questions, and adjusts style based on the audience, formal versus casual.
Right. Here, it is important to identify what type of audience you have. You have older people or serious people or on a formal setting, like with the government people or from the military or from academic um, people, academic group, then you tend to be more formal. I just sent a report of my thesis to my tutors, to the committee of 4 people, and I was distracted. Queridos tutores, anexo mi tesis, and my main tutor says to me in a private message, says, it's not appropriate to address your committee as queridos, queridas, right? It's more appropriate to say respetables, honorables, whatever. Says, okay, I take the point. but he sent me a personal email saying that it's not appropriate to say queridos, queridas, miembros del comité, right? He thought it was too, I don't know, too casual maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And this is an older person. I like him, I respect him, but I think it's a, well, I don't know. Maybe he's right. But the point that he went to the extreme of telling me that it was not appropriate to address the committee as queridos o queridas miembros del comité, like too much attachment, right? Like maybe lack of seriousness or something. I said, well, okay, I take the point. He wants to have more distance. It's okay. I'm in general, I'm a closer person, and I can tell any person, hey, queridos amigos, queridas amigas, whatever, right? But if this setting requires more formality, okay, I take it. And that's what I did. I say, okay, I raised the message and I resent it saying, respetables miembros del comité, right? What do you think about formality versus casuality
Casuality. Um,
versus formality?
yeah, the same as you. I think that uh, you need to identify your public, the group of people that you're gonna speak, and do the changes that require depending of the audience. It's not the same talking to a group of youngsters, to a group, as you mentioned, to a group of, I don't know, a cabinet of I don't know, of the government, or a group of directors, a group of I don't know, to whatever, right? I think that it is important to manage correctly both ways of speaking, because probably if you go with a formal uh, attitude, with a formal way of talking to a group of young people, probably they're gonna be like distracted, or they're gonna pay too much attention to what you're saying. But instead, if you adequate your speak or the topic that you're talking, depending of the group of people, I think that it's gonna be much easier uh, to them, like to get attached to the topic, to what you're saying.
Right. Yeah, that's very true. That is very true. Who would you identify as a formal audience, Mickey?
Who identify?
Yeah, who would you say is a formal audience? When you're going to give a speech, when you're going to talk to some people, who would be formal? A formal audience for you, for your context?
Well, normally people that it's older than me. I
Okay.
don't know, people of that are part of a group of, I don't know, of businessmen, of the government. I don't know, a group of people that works in education could be, you know. I think that there are so many groups. Um, and in comparison, I would say that probably casual could be like young people, or I don't know, a group uh, of people who plays, I don't know, soccer, or an sport. Probably could be like more casual. I think so.
Okay. Let's pretend that you need to deliver a formal speech to a formal audience, and let's think of a topic that you would have to mention. Let's say that there is a group of businessmen that you talk to, a group of businessmen, and that for some reason the government or an important association gave you the charge of instilling a new technology in their houses for security reasons, biological security reasons. For some reason, for biological security reasons, the government found out that um, a group of businessmen needs to instill a new technology in their industries for biological security reasons, and you are in charge of delivering this message. How would you deliver this message? How would you address the audience? How would you make your argument? Right? They need to adopt strong security measures in their industries for biological reasons. How would you address this to them, people?
Mm, well, I want to talk to the like to the directors or to the people that is working on
Well,
the.
you're in an auditorium setting,
Mhm,
auditorium auditorium of faculty,
mhm,
audience, businessmen who own industries. Message in incorporating, adopting new biological measures in their industries. This is the message. How would you do it?
mm,
Not exactly the COVID mask, but some
mhm.
other type of
Yeah.
measures.
Okay. I consider that you must be clear with the message. I think that since the beginning they need to identify why you are talking about it, the importance of what you're talking. Um, I would say that could be. I don't know. In occasions, I think that it's necessary to use both ways of speaking, casual and informal, because in a way, I think that probably those variations can make the people more interested in what you're saying. Because in occasions, when you're speaking very formal, very like polite and all that stuff, I don't know. Probably people can feel like bored, or they can feel like um the focus to the topic or to the speaking. I would say that probably it would be accurate to use uh, both ways. And and yeah, I think that there are so many like tips to maintain a conversation in front of a group of people. And I would say that it's in occasions better to be clear and probably have like three or four ideas instead of talking too much and repeating like the same thing. you know
Okay,
so I would say that in occasions, uh, less is better than more.
right. Okay, very good.
I
Okay,
think so.
let's give them the speech, Mickey. So you're ready to talk to a group of people. Let's plan on a minute speech or minute and a half speech. Maybe, well, you can go up to 2 minutes. But let's say that. But I'm going to introduce you. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're honored to have our new specialist and young man in charge of a strong commission designed and designated by the governor of the state about a new biological measures that the industries must adopt. With you, major commerce trade and international trader and business advisor, Mickey Hernandez. Okay, thank you, Mickey.
Thank you very much. Yeah, the reason why I'm here is because we know how many accidents, how many risks we have inside of industries. And so that's why it is important to adopt new biological measures, because the reality is that we are always exposed to different risks. That's why it is important to show you why it is important to how can I say this, to apply these biological measures, and that now they must be an obligation. It is not just that I tell you this. It is important that you need to apply it, because now the government requires to all the industries to apply this, and not for them. It's for the security of your company, but mostly for your people. Um, Yeah, I don't know what else I can say.
The consequences of not adopting it because it's mandatory, right?
Hmm. The consequences of not adopting it could be, first of all, fines, but I think that fines are not the most important. As I mentioned, the most important is the people that works with you, the people that makes your industry or your company the company that is, and yeah, the safety of them, and obviously, consequently, you don't gonna have fines.
Okay, very good. Okay, applause. Great.
Thank you very much.
Very good, very good. Okay, we're going to have time to check your speech. Uh, how do you feel?
I feel good, but to be honest, I like to speak to something that I really know. you
Okay,
know?
well, we made this up. This was a makeup.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, I try to more or less give an idea of what I imagine that it's correct to say in this type of topics. Something that I always try to do is when I'm gonna have I don't know, a presentation in the school, whatever, is to understand the topic and have like three or four, as I mentioned, main ideas, and then just explain them. Obviously, avoid to read because everybody I imagine that knows how to read. So try to explain it and try to be accurate with the topic that we're saying. Mhm.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Very, very, very good. There are different reasons for giving a speech. One of the most common and painful speeches is when you have to scold a kid, uh, scold or reprimand a worker, or yeah, mostly. That's a tough one. That's a tough speech because there must be a reason, and sometimes there are so many different styles, right? So
Yeah,
how would you, let's say that some 5 years, 10 years from now, 15 years, I don't know, you're already married and you have a kid that is what, 5, 6, 7 years old, right? 7 years old, and he forgot to do his homework. He forgot to do his homework. How would you address your kid? Or yeah, let's talk about a kid. He
hmm,
forgot to do his homework, and now you need to scold him or give him a reprimand or tell him or advise him. It doesn't have to be a reprimand. It can be a
hmm,
nurturing message. It can be something very friendly, very loving, very caring, or it can be something rough, strict. It depends on the parenting style too, right?
yeah, yeah. Mm, well, I need to be casual because in this case, I'm his or her father. I will try to be uh, direct. I would say what is important to do the homework, and mostly the homework, the consequences of not doing it. Because I think that probably for a kid is like it's just one homework for many of them.
Right.
but but I think that the importance is understand that probably if you don't do the homework in this moment of your life, probably you're not gonna complete anything in your life because you just left the things and you don't concrete them. I would say the importance of working that in this moment probably the only obligation that you have is going to the school and you need to do it correctly because in the future you don't know probably that homework is going to help you for something probably at this moment of your life you're not aware of that but in the future could be and if not you need to be consistent and you need to concrete your projects so yeah I would try uh, to show him or her uh, the importance of homework because I think that it, it is difficult at the beginning when you are when you are a kid, when you are young, to see like, oh my god, another homework. And in occasions, it's not their fault because there are homeworks that is like, I don't know, do a summary of this of the page 15 to 18 in your notebook. And it's like, oh my god.
That's a
But,
headache.
but in reality, so many cases work is in that way, and unfortunately, instead of you try to make your own company or to work by your own, in occasions, yeah, I think that there are activities that don't have so much sense, but you need to do it unfortunately. But I think that
Right.
you need how to deal or cope with that.
Okay, let's do an experiment, Mickey. If it's okay with you, we're just
Yeah,
experimenting, okay?
yeah.
Uh, let's go 10, 15 years ahead of time, 15 maybe, 10, I don't know.
Hmm. Hmm.
Let's give your kid a name, any name, I don't know, Mickey or whatever. What name that you're just inventing? We're just testing, right? We're just playing. What is a name that you probably give your kid?
To be honest, it is something that I have never think about it, but um, I don't know. Let's imagine if it's a boy. I don't know, Mateo, for example. I don't know.
Mateo.
Yeah.
Okay, Mateo. And just as an experiment, I know that it's probably not your personality. Just it's a makeup, right? Try to give it a little bit emotional, not too much, but not too dry. Not too dry. I mean, I tend to be dry, but with my daughters, I was not very dry. I became a little bit emotional, not angry, but I would do go something like, "Oh, Minita, it's so important for you to wake up early and this, and try to be to sound emotional." It's not that I was trying; it's that I became like that right, when I was talking to my daughters.
Hmm.
So it was like kind of impossible for me. It was kind of difficult for me to maintain steady, quiet. I would
Hmm.
have this drag on the words. Oh, you need to wake up and arrive in school early. You are just across the street. I
Hmm.
mean, why don't you wake up early, 5 minutes early? And so I would put this little bit of emotion, right?
Hmm.
But it was just natural. Let's make this up, Mickey. Let's try to give him a little speech, a little bit more emotional that you would normally be, just a little bit more.
With the same example.
Yes, please. Some example. He forgot to do his homework, or he got a 9 instead of a 10, or an 8, or something, whatever, any reason. It's just a game.
Okay. Mm, but I'm gonna do the example of get an 8, for example, instead of 10. Oh my god. Mm, Mateo, come. I want to talk with you. I saw your grades, and there were good grades, but I know you, and I know your potential, and I know that you are very capable of everything. And I'm not. I don't want to scold you or tell you that you are a bad student because I know that you're not. But I'm aware, and what I want to do with this is that I want that you are. I want to make you aware of your capabilities because obviously I know you since you born, and I think that that 8 could be a 10 the next time. As I told you, it is not a punishment. I don't gonna remove you your toys. I don't gonna remove you your tablet. Mm-mm. But I want that you really understand the capabilities that you have, the capabilities that God gives you, and that it could be a 10. And not only this uh, in this material, is it correct? In
Subject.
this subject, yeah. In not only this subject, in all of them, because as I mentioned, I know your capabilities, your capacities, and I know that you're good playing soccer, that you're good in sports, and I know that you can be better in the school too. I don't know in the future. You don't know what you're gonna study, and probably you are too young to think in that. But try to do it not for the 10. Try to do it for the knowledge that you can acquire for it. Yeah, I would say that.
That was very intense. Very good. Very,
Yeah,
very, very, very nice. How do you feel?
weird. Very weird. I don't know. I think that it's a speaking that obviously I didn't have with probably with Luis in the past, but now it's something that I have never experienced. I don't know if one day I'm gonna experience it, but well, it's good to practice.
Yeah, yeah. Practice in advance, right?
Practice in advance, exactly.
Yeah. The thing is that some speeches are naturally emotional. When you
Mm-hmm.
talk to a person that you have a big emotional connection,
Mm-hmm.
dad, mom, brother, sister, girlfriend, people who are close to you, very,
Mm-hmm.
very intimate. I mean, a father, a mother,
Mm-hmm.
etc.
Mm-hmm.
The connection is very close. So the speeches tend to be emotional,
Yeah.
both to give and to receive, to deliver and to receive them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes now I mock my mom when she laughs when we have breakfast. For example, sometimes I come to her house here because she's by herself. So sometimes I come and stay with her, right, in her house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when we prepare breakfast,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I chop the onion, the tomatoes, and sometimes she does it, and she
Mm-hmm.
puts the onion in the tomato in the eggs, and she starts cooking. And then I come and see her, and I say, "Mom, you can do it. You have the potential to do it." This emotion, and she just laughs because that's how she did it with us, right?
Yeah,
You
of course.
you can do it, Mickey. You have the potential. Come on, Mickey, you can do. And this
You can do
emotion,
it.
oh man, that drove me crazy, right?
Yeah. Yeah, as you mentioned, it's much easier when you have a connection with the person that you're speaking, and not only. Well, I think that it's much easier when it's someone that is close to you. I imagine a son, a daughter, your mom, your dad, your brothers, your girlfriend, whatever. It's much easier. Yeah.
And what plays a strong impact in us, I think, is the pitch of the voice, right? It's not the same. Hey, Mickey, that's it. Mickey, come on, Mickey. Right? The
Hmm.
pitch has a totally different impact in us, doesn't it?
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Uh, I remember exactly the one time I was reading a book, and in this book shows the importance of the tone of voice, and in occasions the tone of voice, the gestures, what your body is speaking without speaking, is mostly more important that actually the message. Unfortunately,
Absolutely, yes.
so yeah, I think that it's important to know how to take advantage of your voice, take advantage of your uh, yeah of your way of speaking, because depending of that could be the message uh, accurate, receive or not.
Right. And I go back, I'm coming back to the message, to the comment that you made from the very beginning, that it doesn't it shouldn't sound false or acted, right? Or how do you say this? Tailored, right? It shouldn't sound like if we are um, we are not being authentic or sincere. It should sound sincere. It should be sincere, not only sound sincere, but should be sincere, right?
Hmm.
Because if it
Yeah.
is sincere, it will sound sincere. And if it is not sincere, even if we try, it will not sound sincere. So sincerity is one of the most important aspects of showing a speech. Also, we need to be convinced of what we're saying. If we say something that we're not convinced of, it's going to sound false. It's going to sound weak or hollow
Hmm.
or shallow, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
Well, so here's some other items that are interesting and relevant to the topic. Let's see about emotional intelligence, Mickey. Can you go over that, please?
Hmm. Emotional intelligence reads the room and adapts to audience reactions, shows empathy and connects with listeners, and handles questions or interruptions gracefully.
Yeah. I recently saw an interview with Vladimir Putin being interviewed by one of the journalists from England. And Westerner journalists like to put pressure, like, is it true, Mr. President, that people say that you're a dictator and this and that? What do you think on the? And then he responds gracefully. He says, well, that people say that they are entitled to the thinking and this and that. And sometimes in an interview that I saw recently, the journalist kept interrupting. And then Putin says, well, are you going to wait for my answer, please? You want the American people to listen to my answers, right? So please stop interrupting me until I finish, please. And then I can listen to your next question, okay? So he put him in his place. Oh, man, that was amazing how some. Have you ever seen Putin in a speech, Mickey?
Yeah, yeah, I have seen. I'm not gonna say a complete interview, but I have seen shorts and videos of him speaking. He speak very slowly, but very uh, direct, I would say. I have seen cases where, yeah, as you mentioned, I don't know, someone of the, I don't know, of Europe, some new news or journalists from Europe interviewed him, and in a way they want to impose their ideas, and the journalist wants to guide the conversation. And in occasions, as you mentioned, they interrupt the interviewer, right?
Yeah.
Interviewer, yeah. And yeah, I have seen cases where he stops and is like, "Okay, you are here to listen my answer, or you want to answer by me for me?" And
Okay. Right.
and yeah, it's a good speaker too. I would say that it's very different in comparison. I don't know, for example, John F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King, that they were like so emotional. He looks very, in a way, very cold and dry. But at the end, I think that it works for him because for his for his position, I think that it's okay because in a way he's the president of Russia, and well, I think that I don't know the approbation that he has in his country, but I think that so many of Russian people supports him, and I would say that it's for the way in how he is.
Right. Yeah, I believe he's got a high index of approval in his country.
Yeah.
I think the approval rate is in the range is in the range of 60%, I think, which being above 50%, you have an advantage, you have an edge, right?
Yeah.
All right. But this idea of handling interruptions gracefully is a trait, is a good trait, it's a good quality.
Hmm.
Well, the next one is persuasive and impactful. At the end, we talk. Why do we talk to people? Why? What's the purpose of communication? What do we want to attain?
Well, communications work for different things. One of them I would say that is to share our needs, share our thoughts, uh, share uh, our position of certain things,
Or what?
or position, like, or I don't know, like, yeah, the reason why we think in that way, or why we support this, or instead of that, vice versa.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, position. What else? To convince someone.
Yes. Right.
Mm,
Sometimes we want to dissuade someone, right?
yeah.
That's true.
Mm,
Simply to have the pleasure of socializing, maybe, Mickey.
yeah, to have conversation, just because we are social beings.
Right. Exactly. Well, that's a very important list that you provided to share our needs, our thoughts, share our position, convince, dissuade, and socialize. Mostly that's why we talk to each other, right? So if you want to be persuasive, we need to use what? I guess convincing arguments, don't we?
Exactly. Yeah, it is very important to have like the correlation between what you're saying and what really it is. If you're just speaking and speaking and speaking without showing really an argument, I think that it's much easier to the people or to the person who you're talking to probably don't believe in what you're saying because it's like, okay, you're saying this and this and this, but what are the proofs, you know? But when you have the evidence to uh, that supports the idea of what you're saying, I think that it's much easier to be persuasive.
Right. There is a social experiment that I think I mentioned to you once about the man in the line to make photocopies. There was an experiment of a man asking for permission to cut in the line. And so there were two lines, two experiments. I mean, an experiment with two stages. One of them, a man was asking for permission to cut in the line. Can I cut in the line, please? And 66% said yes, and 33% said no. Why? And in another case, parallel case, a man was cutting the line in the photocopy line, just saying, because I need to make copies. Excuse me, can I cut in the line, please? Because I need to make some photocopies. 96% of the people let him in, and 4% said no. So in 100 times, 4 said no, 96 said yes. Just because said, because I want to make copies. Well, what do you think the other people are here for, right? They're also to make copies. But if you don't say why, what's the reason, even if it's self-evident, only 66% of the people will let you in, and 33 will reject you. But if you say something, even if it's self-evident, excuse me, can I cut off the line because I need to make copies? It will be 94%. Imagine the rate versus 66% with no argument, and 94% with a self-evident argument. What do you think of these numbers, Mickey?
Are very impactful. I think that you never mentioned about
Oh, okay.
this social experiment. It is funny, but it is very interesting. Just because you use the word because,
Is
it
right.
changed completely the amount of people who in this case let the person cut the line and get in. It is very interesting, and yeah, it makes sense because it doesn't matter the argument. You are like probably the person could imagine like, okay, he has the need of make copies. I don't know for I don't know. Probably he has an appointment or he has something, but he without saying really more argument just because he just said because 94% let him in. It's it's interesting. Makes sense.
Right, right, right.
Makes
So that's
sense
importance of always saying because. Well,
because
even if it's self-evident, like making copies, well, we're here also to make copies. What do you think we're doing
Mhm.
here, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But even in that case, providing an argument will give you a huge advantage over people who don't give an argument, even if the reason is valid or very strong, but you don't know the reason why they want to do that. Right?
Wow.
Yeah, that's a social experiment. This is in the book of Daniel Kahneman, who was the Nobel Prize winner of economics, but
Hmm.
he was a sociologist who made many social experiments. Well, he talks about this experiment. He didn't do the experiment, but he refers to this experiment in the book Think Fast,
Think slow.
that book,
Hmm.
Think Slow. He talks about this experiment in this book, Think Fast, Think Slow. Um, well, let's see the next one, Mickey, please. Can we?
Yeah. Leaves the audience with a clear takeaway or call to action. Hmm.
Right. In other words, uh, you don't force them, you don't push them, but you give them a feeling that if they don't do anything, it's going to be for the worse. So it's a call to action.
Hmm.
Let's think of an example in which you give a speech You give a talk, you do something, and people feel that they need to do something.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, something that we have talked about it many times is uh, the importance of avoid the climate change and all the things related to that. I would say that if you at the end show like the evidence that okay, if we don't do a change now, because now it's late to do it, but if we don't do it, it doesn't matter. The consequences are gonna be this at the end of the presentation. I think that makes the public feel to like the feeling of doing something. Like okay, if I don't do this, there's gonna be worse, and I don't know what's gonna happen in the future. But what I know is that it's gonna be worse. uh, as you mentioned, like a call to action, like, okay, we need to do this, I don't know, plant trees, take care of the water usage. I don't know, but yeah, try to be like convinced, convincing to them of you need to take action because if not, this is gonna happen.
Right. Yeah. That is the call to action, clear takeaway. What do you take away with this lecture? What is your takeaway? Well, my takeaway is that I need to consume less sugar. I need to do more exercise. I need to go to bed earlier. I need to wake up earlier. I need to be more organized in some things. There are so many takeaways in
Hmm.
certain speech or conferences or conversations, even conversations
Hmm.
with friends, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Very good, Mickey. Well, that's truly, truly interesting to discuss. Let's do one more really quick, if we have a minute or so.
Hmm.
Uh, being convincing, being leaves the audience take away, persuasive, impactful, impactful. There are many short anecdotes in which there is a man looking at his tomb. I don't know where I saw this in a book, but a man is looking at himself in the tombstone, right? He's looking at himself in his tombstone, and there are lots of relatives, friends, sons, daughters, maybe grandchildren. And the question that the man is asking himself is, what will the people say when they are at my funeral? This is pretty intense.
Yeah.
And when you pose this question on people, friends, they cannot other than feel uneasy. They say, oh well, yeah, right?
Hmm.
Because it's a very, I mean, it's the last moment of our life, right? And not only that, but in the aftermath, what will people say about us, right? Oh, so well, they will say maybe he was so tempting, daring. Maybe they will say uh, persistent, ambitious. I don't know. People will say many things about people, right?
Hmm.
But it's an interesting question that makes people uneasy. It doesn't. It's not the purpose to make people uneasy, but to give them an emotion that they try this with one of your friends one day, if you can. Tell what do you think when you think of your funeral in God willing, many, many, many years, 60 years from now, 70, 80 years from now, when you're in your 90s, right? 80s, 90s, maybe 100. What will people say? How will people remember you? And that's a strong question. That's a strong question to ask. And it's surprising what the answers you can get, right? What do you think of asking this question to some of your friends, Mickey?
It will be interesting because I don't know, something that happens, and mostly I would say to young people is that we know that probably, well, we know that we're not gonna be here one day, but it is not something that we think about it because well, we are young and we think like probably this is gonna happen in. in a long, long time. But yeah, I think that is the only reality that we have is the one day we're not gonna be here anymore. So yeah, it will be interesting to to see what they think about it because I'm almost sure that they don't think about it too much.
Yeah. Well, not no one of us want to think about that. I don't want to think about this.
Yeah,
But
but I think that it's something good because in a way I would say that it makes you feel like more present. Like don't think too much about the future because at the end you don't know what is gonna happen tomorrow or in 10 minutes or in whatever.
right.
So yeah, it gives you like a clear idea and understand that the time that we have is not permanent. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very true. Okay, very good, Mickey. Well, as usual, very interesting conversation. Thank you for your
Yes,
comments,
teacher.
for your ideas, for your thoughts.
Thank you very much, teacher. Thank you for the class. As you mentioned, very interesting as always. And yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, take care, Mickey. Probably we have, I don't know if this Friday I'm going to present my thesis in a colloquium.
Good luck, teacher.
So I'm not very sure. Thank you. I don't know if I'm going to have a lot of time this week, but maybe next week we can do two
Yes,
classes
teacher.
if it's
Yeah,
fine
no,
with you.
don't worry. Focus on your thesis. Good
All right,
luck.
Mickey. Thank you very much. Take care. See you soon.
Take
Say
care,
hello to the
teacher.
family.